Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. I will allow everyone a few minutes just to get logged in and settled, and we'll begin shortly. For those of you logging in now, thank you for joining us. We'll begin in about 1 minute. Okay, great. So hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today to learn more about the International Master's Program in National Security Studies. My name is Rachel from the University of Haifa International School, and I'm excited that you're here with us today. Joining me are Dr. Dan Schueftan, head of the International Program, and Angelina Heil, an alumna of the program, and my colleague Galit Diamant, the marketing director of the International Programs. So if you have any questions, please feel free to write them in the chat, and at the end of this session, we will have time to answer them. And now I'm happy to introduce Galit, who will tell us more about the city and University of Haifa.
Hi, everybody. It's great that you've joined us today. We have so many things to tell you, and we're sure you have a lot of questions about the National Security Program. And before we dive into the bits and bytes of the program, I want to take the opportunity to give you a closer look about who we are, and let's start by seeing where we are. So if this is planet Earth, and I zoom in, then this tiny dot is Israel. And if I zoom in a little bit closer, then you can see that Israel is very, very small, and it's like a triangle that I colored in red. And although we are relatively small in comparison to other countries, we actually have a lot going for us. And it would be a wonderful opportunity for you to take a year and explore Israel, and not just because of the world-class education. That's only the tip of the iceberg. There are so many reasons, and I can go on and on, but let's talk about a few of them. First of all, there's a reason why Israel is called the startup nation. Many inventions, groundbreaking inventions that have literally changed the world, have started here. If it's GPS, if it's Waze, and other inventions. We have a fascinating culture incorporating Jewish, Arab, Druze, Baha'i, so many cultures. And this is basically, I think, the only country that I know that you can start your day by skiing on the slopes of Mount Hermon in the northern part of Israel, and then jump into your car, and within 8 hours, you can find yourself on the sandy deserts in the south, or diving into the Red Sea. And if we're talking about seas, we have 3 kinds of seas. We have the Red, the Med, and the Dead. And it's a wonderful place to travel. There are all sorts of iconic landmarks that you can visit. The landscape is very diverse. You have the sea, you have the mountains, you have the desert, you have everything and anything. The food is wonderful because it incorporates all the inspirations from all the cultures coming into Israel. And the people, just like the weather, are usually warm most years of the day. Now, if I take you a little bit closer, you can see that on the northern part of this triangle is the city of Haifa. The city of Haifa is Israel's 3rd largest city. It's the largest city in the north of Israel. And if we're talking about cultural diversity, it's the most diverse city in Israel by far. Now, if I take you a little bit closer, then on the top of Haifa, on the crest of Mount Carmel, you can find the University of Haifa, and you can see it now on the screen. We have 18,000 students attending our bachelor's, master's, and PhD degree programs. We have 6 interesting faculties in humanities, in social sciences, in education, in welfare and health studies, in natural sciences, and in law. And if I take you a little bit closer, if you see here, this is the International School of the University of Haifa. And this is, in fact, the place that we are sitting now and broadcasting live all the way from here. We embrace every year hundreds of students coming to our 18 English taught master's degree program from over 90 countries all over the world. So it's the most diverse of the diverse. Or like someone said, you can't find any better diversity in a university. So without further ado, I want to give you also a touch and feel of what the University of Haifa International School is all about. So check out this video.
You want to experience Israel, huh? Well, you didn't hear it from me, but the place to do this is called Haifa. Israel's 3rd largest city, Haifa is definitely its friendliest. A surprising, dynamic metropolis with a sweet, low-key attitude in the middle of some of Israel's most gorgeous scenery. And right at the top, you've got the University of Haifa. If Haifa is the best of Israel, then the university is the best of Haifa. Arabic, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, Druze, Baha'i, beach, mountain, industry, high-tech, academic excellence, and an active student life. It's all right here, all coming together. Just like it will for you as a student at the University of Haifa International School. Here you get a panoramic view, not only of the Galilee and the Mediterranean, but of everything a top academic institution has to offer. Whether you're enjoying one of the University of Haifa's superb English-taught academic programs, delving into the internship and volunteering opportunities, or hanging out with your Israeli dorm mates, you'll be interacting daily with the people who make Israel. There's never been such diversity in a university. Aside from academics, we've got tours, trips, lectures, campus activities, concerts, conferences, sports activities, and that's just the beginning. Here, you'll be who you want to be, because this place lets you be who you are. The University of Haifa is all about you. Best of all, you'll experience it with us, your amazing teaching staff, classmates, full-time social activity coordinators, and new friends from Israel and abroad. University of Haifa. Meet Israel.
Thank you for watching. Rachel, take it away.
Thank you, Galit. Now Dr. Schueftan will tell us more about the program.
Yes, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the national security program, but first, why is it so important to study national security now in 2023? The world is changing in a very fundamental way. Think of the war in Ukraine and the deep changes it now produces in Europe and on the international level. Think about the new stage of competition between China and the United States. Look at the Middle East, where for a very long time the area was defined by the Arab-Israeli conflict. Now there is an Arab-Israeli coalition against the radicals in the region. Look at what is happening domestically in countries since 2015, with the refugee problem as a very major determinant of domestic policy. The world is changing in a very fundamental way when it comes to national security. So that's the time to study national security. Why Haifa? Why our program? Why this particular study of national security? We have a unique combination at the University of Haifa of academic excellence and practical experience. It is extremely important to understand the theory of international relations and to understand different facets of national interests. But very often people come from the university to the workplace with very little understanding and very little knowledge about what is happening in the real world. We're trying to combine the two. The professors I selected for this program are people with extensive practical experience. They try to combine what they know, what they've studied, and also what they've experienced. To give only one example, the guy who teaches intelligence in our program used to be until recently the deputy head of Israeli military intelligence. So coming from him, again, in addition to his academic knowledge, also his enormous experience in intelligence helps to understand it. So remember this combination. I have known a number of programs around the world. I've never seen such an emphasis on the practical part, on helping people get a job. Because all due respect for the title, the important thing is to get a job. For the very best of our students, I have helped a lot to people to get positions, not only in Israel, but in other places around the world. This is good only for our very best students, but it also helps. And there is a combination of Israelis and people from abroad that is the broadest variety you can possibly imagine. We've had in recent years 3 acting generals in the Israeli army who participated in the course. They came to learn about national security, having already been generals in the Israeli army. You have Druze, you have Arabs, you have people with a lot of experience, you have people from all continents of the world. And sometimes the students learn from each other, not less than they learn from us. There are different ages, different experiences. So people come and learn from their students, from the teachers, and from the experiences they have in Israel itself. What we have is a framework of 3 semesters for a whole academic year. You can finish and get your MA without a thesis, but if you want, you can later stay and complete your thesis so that you can go to more advanced titles. What is particularly important is what are we learning here? Now, when people hear national security, they basically think about security and tanks and armies and wars and confrontations. No, we go far beyond it. We teach strategic thinking. And this involves bringing into the same picture military issues, yes, political, economic, yes, but also cultural and legal and value issues. And the challenge is, how do you meet the overall challenge? Know how do you maximize one part, but how do you optimize the combination of all the things that you can study? Now, here you have it very clearly on the pictures that you have on the background. We also tour Israel and parts of the world in order to get more experience. We take the class to Brussels to meet senior officials at NATO and the European Union. We take students to the Israeli northern border, to Jerusalem, to the technological cutting edge industries in Israel. We try to show them, to bring about a meeting of the students with practitioners. Now, when the practitioners come to class, there's a whole semester where I'm giving a seminar called The Practitioner's Perspective. And I bring very senior people from Israel and abroad who tell the students about their experience, their failures, their successes. What have they learned from their successes and their failures? And the students already come into the workplace that they later join. They come in running. They already know the practical side of it, as I described before. Now, what is the product that I expect at the end of our program? Primarily the ability to think strategically, to take something that you have not known before, to look at it and to see what really counts, to isolate the vital interests from the important interests, to make very difficult decisions, to understand how decision makers make their decisions, to be able to help them, perhaps eventually become one of them. So you come out being able to deal not only with political and military issues, but say economic issues on the strategic level. The structure of education. How best do you want to prepare your people in the education system, thinking about what you want as a product 30 years from now, in health and so on. And our students are everywhere, wherever strategic thinking is necessary. Also, and this you have already been told, there's a lot of fun involved, but I'm not the fun expert, so I'm leaving this to others. But I want to end my comments now by telling the kind of students that I don't want in my program, okay? If you're one of the following, don't come. If you want a safe space where nobody will ever say some things that may offend you, don't come, because we will discuss issues even if some people don't like it, because unless you discuss them, whatever you decide later is a different matter. But if you don't discuss them because of political correctness, then you cannot understand the world you live in. You may come out very happy, in love with yourself, but with a profound misunderstanding of the world. So if you want to tread lightly, not to go deep into issues, not to go into controversy, don't come. This program is not for you. But all the others, if you want the challenge that this kind of program gives, you're most welcome. Come with your prejudices. It will be fun. Everybody comes with their own prejudices, and we're having fun discussing them. So we will have a year, if you come, that will make it possible for you to see things you have not seen before in a perspective you have not seen before. So we expect you with open academic arms, and you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Schueftan. I would now like to invite Angelina to tell a bit about her experience as a student in the program.
Yeah, hi everyone. So thank you, Rachel. My name is Angelina. I'm a student currently at the university, so I'm here to tell you guys a little bit more about the student experience of the program itself. Originally, I'm from Germany, and I started the program last year, and I'm now to sit for the research track of a program. I chose the program because I was very interested in civil military relations and having a background in international relations. I really wanted to learn more about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict at stake and what different points need to be taken into consideration. For that, the program was similar to how Dan explained it just now, very, very hands-on and very, very practical, so to speak. So the course focuses, of course, also on general geopolitical issues all the way from Ukraine and Russia to issues in Latin America and all over the globe. However, of course, emphasis is also given to the condition of the state of Israel, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and things that are at stake therein. It was very interesting because therein we had, especially in the second semester and the seminar that he was talking about the practitioner's perspective, I have never been in a program where we had that much insight at having actual practitioners come in who we are able to have one-on-one conversations with, who are currently ambassadors of the state of Israel. We had the ambassador of United Arab Emirates currently to Israel come in, lots of very, very high people in very high positions who would tell us their personal story, what brought them to that position, their personal understanding of different issues at stake. So that was very, very interesting and gave a very good academic understanding, but also a great understanding into a certain Israeli elite, which I think is probably impossible to get in hardly any other programs who are focused more on purely academic theoretical, which is also handled in the program, but it's very much more focused on getting out and talking and conversations in the classroom. Sometimes, especially between me and Dan, got very, very heated. Therein, what he said about it not being the safest of spaces is true, but to the extent that it's a very, very honest classroom where everyone is free to say whatever they think. And then if there is maybe a mistake in the calculation or other things that also need to be taken into consideration, it can get very intense. But for me, that was a very great push to grow and to think into all kinds of different angles, which the program really, really helped to grow. I was told to only speak for 5 minutes, so I will stop here. And if you have any more questions in terms of student life and the city of Haifa, the program itself, I will stay here. But
if you have more to say, we have some time. So if there's more you'd like to share, but otherwise we can open it up for questions.
It's fine. I will just open up for questions and I'll stay here if someone has specific questions.
So there is a question about if you can do the program online. The answer is no. It is a program taught on campus in Haifa, Israel. And about what are the requirements to join. You need a bachelor's degree that's from an accredited university. Ideally, you need to come from a political science background, but not only, you can do some prerequisite courses to make up that background. And of course, you'll need your CV and some academic recommendation letters. If you are not a native English speaker or the language of instruction in your previous studies was not English, you will need to take an English language exam such as TOEFL or IELTS or something compatible to those tests.
Let me perhaps make a comment, if I may, concerning why we don't allow to take this online. This is a course with very heavy friction. I don't believe that you can study these issues without having a discussion in one place where a variety of views are being heard. Because of the corona, we had some experience with online studying, and it turned out that it worked because there was no other way, but it didn't work by far as well as the kind of friction that we have here. And this is also associated with something else I should emphasize. Israel is a place where if you're wrong about national security, you don't exist. So countries may, discuss things that are enormously important, like the value-added tax and what have you. But in Israel, it's the only democracy that has been at war one way or another for generations, where people know that their children will be going to the army and fighting like their fathers and mothers did before, and like they and their sisters did a very short time ago. So you can't afford to be theoretical about these issues. You have to constantly try to understand better the situation, to listen to a variety of viewpoints, to listen not only to what is happening in class, but also during the breaks. And very often students come after the break and say, we've discussed it among ourselves and there is a new question that we want to raise. So all of it makes it much less effective if you have to take it online. If somebody is ill, yes, we can provide for this day or this week where he cannot attend class. Somebody had a problem with visa, so we found a way to accommodate. But if you look at the overall picture, it will not be helpful if we would have held it online.
Thank you, Dr. Schueftan. Is there a scale or score you expect for the IELTS exam or Pearson exam? I suggest whoever you are, anonymous, please send me a message. Please send us a message in the chat with your email, and we will schedule with you a personal consultation to discuss the admissions process. I see Israel has a question, so we'll give you permission to speak. So feel free to ask your question.
We can't see you. Is it possible for us to see you as well as hear you?
We won't be able to see him, but we should be able to
Okay.
hear him if he turns his microphone on and asks his question.
Both the
And-
microphone and the camera is turned off. So can you please, if you hear us, please turn your microphone and camera on.
Okay, well, we'll continue with the next question in the meantime. Okay, requirements for credit and GPA. The minimum GPA is a 3.0 on a 4.0 scale. But I will also address that it's only part of your admissions materials. So if it is different from that, I would still encourage you to apply. Which type of subjects can we expect from this course?
Okay, we study, first of all, as I said, strategic thinking. We also give a very good background concerning the concepts of political science, different schools of thought in political science. We teach intelligence, we teach cyber, we teach military political affairs, diplomacy. In different years, we put the emphasis on different classes. I'm also always looking for the professors who are available at a certain year, and the emphasis goes so that during the year we can be exposed to the variety, to a very wide variety. But you have our curriculum, and there you can see. If you want, I can read you some of the names of the courses so that you will get a better understanding. We have approaches to political science. This is the theoretical course in the beginning. There is my seminar of the national security of Israel, which focuses on strategic thinking. Then you have a course on strategic national decision making in the Middle East, which focuses on countries also recently becoming much more significant, namely in the Arabian Gulf. I'm speaking about Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, Bahrain, Kuwait, and so on. There is the seminar that I already mentioned about the practitioner's perspective of national security. Then you have a very interesting class that is now becoming much more on a subject that in recent decades became much more important, law and values. You have a class that is, by the way, taught by a person who was the Deputy National Security Advisor of Israel about the relationship between Israel and the United States on the strategic level. We have a course about law and ethics in decision-making in national security, the intelligence course that I've already mentioned, and the evolution of war, the information and the cyber age. This is the variety of courses that we offer. It changes a little bit every year according to the availability of the best professors, but this is the core of the program as it goes on.
Thank you very much. Does anyone have any other questions for Dr. Schueftan or for Angelina at this time?
Is the person who wanted to speak before already online? Can we
He's
speak
still
to him?
here, but let's see.
Is he capable of opening his microphone or
I've
his
given
camera?
him the option, but perhaps he's not here with us.
Okay,
We'll write to him and we'll make sure that
very good.
his question is addressed.
Very good. Let me mention one more thing. If some of you have academic questions, please, no administrative questions. I'm not the best authority. Speak to Rachel, speak to everybody in the international school. They're 100 times better than me on this subject. But if you have academic questions, you can set up a time and we can speak on the phone or on WhatsApp, and you can ask me specific academic questions. I'll be delighted to discuss this with you.
Okay, perfect. So if there are no more questions at this time, I will just mention that I sent some links in the chat so that you can start your application and learn more about the programs. We are running a special now through January 15th. Those who submit their applications by next Sunday, the 15th of January, will receive 85% off the application fee. And I would like to thank you, Dr. Schueftan, for taking the time to share more about the program. And thank you also, Angelina, for sharing your experience with us. And of course, thank you to everyone for tuning in today. We hope to see you in Haifa this fall. Thank you.